What's up, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram buddies? Also, I think I'm going to start a Rumble channel. I guess Rumble went public. I just bought like 10 shares. So I am not a financial expert, but that seems like it'd be a good investment. Anyway, I wanted to talk about alternative homesteading and the realities of it. I would say the most serious aspect of that would be, say, the cost of land and housing. And at this point, it's becoming almost unattainable for your average person. So if you didn't take advantage of, say, the hot real estate market 3 years ago, things have gotten so inflated, it's almost completely out of reality for most people, unfortunately. But downsizing is probably the best way to still reach that goal. And you don't need a 100-acre farm to live rurally. And I think even the 1 to 10 acres is still a wise decision if you can get yourself out there, out of the cities, even out of the suburbs. Take advantage of, maybe if you do own a home, the inflated price, and then go out to the sticks and buy something more reasonable and maybe keep some of that money in your savings. But I wanted to talk about my favorite homestead animal. And I've owned different kinds of animals throughout my life and different kinds of pets, but by far my favorite is the American gamefowl. And there's a stigma and there's a negative outlook on these animals, of course, because of the history of cockfighting in America and throughout the world. But anyway, the American gamefowl is a beautiful creature. They have so much personality. I would compare it is basically like owning chickens, but chickens on fast forward. They're all over the place. They're much more active, much more athletic, and more entertaining, but they're also extremely beautiful. They come in so many different colors. And I guess when you breed a gamefowl, you're dealing with an animal that's one of the most easily changed genetically. You can create your own line. You can take one form of the gamefowl and completely morph it to something completely different over the years. So that's pretty cool. So aside from that, our gamefowl aren't really used for meat or egg production, although I will eat them. I really haven't at this point because I still look at them as pets and my workforce. But you don't want to keep, say, examples of the breed that have negative traits. So you're going to have to cull those out and weed those out. But instead of, say, eating them or just killing them off, I take advantage of their natural foraging instincts. When we got here, year one, that first summer, there were so many ticks on this property. And I'd go walking around a bit. They'd be all over my pants. They'd be fucking all over the place, all over the dog. I'd find them on me, knowing that had probably been stuck on my back for who knows how long, a day or two, before like my wife actually saw it. And it's just disgusting. ticks are just, they're a serious problem, and also the fact that they carry disease makes it extra, gives you kind of some extra paranoia and motivation to get rid of these fuckers. But I don't want to spray poison all over the land. I'm trying to live off it. I'm not trying to fucking eat a bunch of Raid or Roundup and all this kind of shit. I don't want that on my food. I don't want that on my grass. I don't want it anywhere. So I won't use pesticides except for, say, a few pinpoint, like systemic type pesticides that I wouldn't use on anything that I'd eat, and I'd use it with precision. But as far as that goes, natural options are much better as far as maybe not containing the pests, but, well, not killing them off completely, but more like we're containing them. Let's see, you have neem oil, which is a somewhat decent option, not incredibly powerful, but somewhat effective. You have diatomaceous earth, which essentially is almost like glass in a way. It just cuts them up, and they essentially dry out and bleed out. Also, for, say, my gamefowl, diatomaceous earth is used to kill parasites. So it's safe to be around the chickens. It's actually a good thing. So it's one thing to address the pests that are on the plants, but when you have just like grass and field and all this wild woods surrounding it, you just have ticks, you have grasshoppers, you have crickets, you have beetles. I mean, gosh, North Carolina has so many different bugs and little creepy crawlies. They're all over the place. It's just part of life. Stink bugs are the worst as far as getting into the house. Like, I'll find them all winter. So when the stink bugs hatch out, it's epic. Like, they're everywhere. Also, those, I believe it's a Japanese beetle, just ravaging the orchards and just anything and everything, just with bullet holes in it, and flea beetles. And, well, we have spider mites, but I don't expect a chicken can actually get a hold of them. But the diatomaceous earth is an awesome option, and neem oil. And then you have also a pesticide derived from chrysanthemums. So those are all great options. But as far as having the gamefowl, you have a team of active hunters foraging all day. They're picking off those prime, like, reproducers and just annihilating grasshoppers, annihilating flies, just anything and everything that gets in their way. It's like a pack of hunters just combing through your property, fertilizing as they kill off all these bugs. And I feel the gamefowl makes up for the lack of production with those extra abilities and instincts. Now, all chickens will hunt, but can they jump 6 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet straight up in the air and nail a grasshopper in mid-flight? I'm sure some chickens can, but most cannot. But each one of these gamefowl, whether it's a rooster or a hen, they have the capability of just picking a bug out of thin air, just with lightning speed and accuracy. Also, they climb all over this hill, digging through that mess, just finding stuff all day long. And although they have some of those wild hunting instincts still, I've bred these gamefowl. Now, all chickens kind of do this, but they want to return home to their roost poles at night, their little chicken hutch. And that's one of the best things you can breed into the chickens. You want them to come home at night, because I have had only one chicken killed during daylight hours, and that's out of about, shoot, I've lost so many birds here over 2 years. Gosh, I would say 25, so many. And some were regular meat and egg layers like Rhode Island Reds, but also the gamefowl did get picked off. But a gamefowl can get way up into these trees. Like, the ones with good instincts can survive outside of the enclosure, but eventually at night predators will get them. But they have a better chance of survival in a rural setting. You know, we're out here on the mountainside. Survivability, adaptability, instinct, foraging instinct, survival instinct. Lower feed costs, not only because they're just a bit smaller and leaner, but they're picking up what they need in the field, in the grass, the natural surroundings, the worms, the grasshoppers, everything. They can damn near take care of themselves if left alone. So also, as they move through the field, as they move through the lawn and the side of the house there, that slope, they're constantly fertilizing as they move through the area. So, and extremely entertaining when you're out here. You know, instead of watching all TV and YouTubes all day, you can be out here with your birds almost like a shepherd, moving them through the landscape. And it's an amazing thing. Anyway, I have a few that have made their way all the way up to my porch. Don't really want them up there, so I'm trying to kind of coax them down this way, but we'll see. Another aspect of the gamefowl is they fetch higher prices than normal chickens. So if you have chicks, if you have stags, if you have trios and pairs and, you know, mature birds, hens and roosters, they can fetch a pretty penny. I mean, the person doesn't have to be a gamefowl enthusiast. Like, I was just into getting out of the suburbs where I once had chickens and getting some more once I got out into the woods. And boy, like, I couldn't wait to get them. And then when I was surfing these egg auctions, I came across the gamefowl and was like, damn, these are incredible birds. And kind of learning more about them. Now, it's not just a gamefowl rooster that wants to fight another rooster. All roosters, for the most part, are super territorial, super aggressive towards each other. They can learn to kind of coexist, but they're in constant competition with each other. Gamefowl are no different. At a certain point, you have to separate the males from the females, and then eventually the males from each other. But it's really no different than having any kind of rooster. Because I had a Rhode Island Red rooster. He was the meanest one I've ever had. He would attack the other chickens, you know. He'd be putting the smackdown on the males. He'd be raping the other male chickens. Like, the gamefowl got abused by this big ass rooster. And like, he was like a jailhouse sex offender. He was just chasing down his rivals and ass raping them. It was horrible. But he wasn't big and fast, or he was big, but he wasn't fast enough to avoid the predators from the natural surroundings. So he went missing, and he's never to return. But say the gamefowl I have right now are all descendants from that original batch, but the ones with the most survivability. So they have some great instincts. Here's one, he's called a blue, which blue, when you're talking about gamefowl or just animals in general, blue is not necessarily that gray blue like you would see in a pit bull, but blue refers to more like these off-colored chickens. They're not black-red. They have red, they have white, they may have some black, but it's not the dominant color. They will have some like gray and smoky colors. But here's my little blue rooster. And he's really awesome. You can see he's got dried blood on his beak because I had other chickens ranging, and another younger male stag went up to his little enclosure over there. And I know that's small. That's a little chicken tractor I drag and move every day, so he has fresh ground. Don't worry about him. He is well taken care of. But anyway, the younger stag was outside the cage, and this one in the cage was going crazy and just kind of raking his face across the hardware cloth. And they call that a cage fight, where they are separated, but you know, the chicken's face is not delicate, but if he's rubbing it up on that metal hardware cloth or any kind of enclosure, it's gonna fuck his face up and cut him, and it can be look like bloody murder. When I've seen some pictures of chickens that get involved in these like cage fights where there's something separating them, and they grate their faces up to the point some of them will die from it. It's just horrible. But anyway, that beautiful blue chicken was a cross between a white kelso and a leaper, which is a black redbird. And this unlocks like this blue gene. When you cross white and black red, you will get blue, and blue will be ever present in those birds from that point on. Pretty much is what I've learned from a lot of breeders. Once they make this cross, this will be blue forever. So if you want white or black red, you're going to have to keep those lines pure and not cross those colors. I love the beautiful blue birds, and I've been kind of calling the whites white tigers, so we'll call the blues the blue tiger. And let me give you a peep at my broodcock rooster. I call him Broadshanks. He is basically the foundation of what I've called the white tigers, and he is a white black splash colored rooster, and he's super impressive. So anyway, let's pop in here and see how he's doing this morning. They've all been well fed. All right, let's see. There he is. And you can see this one right here, this hen is actually his sister. And this one is his offspring between the two. And these are the leaper hens that I crossed to get the blue. Pardon that giant pile of chicken shit over there. There are roost poles right there. So they got this nice little building I made. I mean, it's not that nice, but it's decent, and it should hold for quite a long time. I'm by no means a skilled carpenter. I'm just a guy learning as I go. But this little building's solid, keeps them super safe. I did have a possum dig under, so I'm gonna have to reinforce the whole edge with not chicken wire but hardware cloth about a foot down on all sides, and then fill in with rock and compacted dirt, maybe even cement all around the edge. But this is such a fun hobby, but it takes so much dedication, research, but at least the information is available. If you're looking around, you can find the answers to the questions. They are a little different than chickens. Their diet consists of a lot of the same components, but protein levels would be higher. That would be the main difference. And then the amount of feed is less. So anyway, I put a little solar light in. So at the end of the day, as the sun goes down, the light will pop on and give them a couple more minutes of sunlight. Or not sunlight, but light. This one is set to 3 hours, but the solar panel is not in a good spot. So we got to change that up today to make sure it's charging all the way, because a little extra light will lead to better egg production as the season changes into fall and to winter. That little extra light also gives them more time to forage about in the coop, which could lead to getting a little extra food and exercise in them, and hopefully keeping them healthier overall. Also, when I get home from work in the evenings, I want to be able to have a nice light on, so I can take a peep at the birds from up there, or I can come down here and make sure there's nothing in here that shouldn't be in here, and I can check up on their health. When it gets dark is a great time to work on the birds, as far as like spraying, delousing. You could even put their food in the evening, so you don't have to feed in the morning, because when they wake up, their water and food will all be ready. Chickens are more docile in the evening, so even though, say, Broadshanks won't let me pick him up during the daytime, in the evening I can pick him up and hold him and check him out. I can apply medications. I can apply antibacterial, like wound care. If any of the chickens have wounds, I can check feet for bumblefoot, or sometimes chickens will get like shit on their toes and it'll kind of callus over their claw. You want to make sure that that's cleaned up. I'd say the best way to prevent that is to let them run free. But American gamefowl, give it a consideration. A more active hunter and an effective pest maintenance team on the homestead. Also, I sell these eggs. So if you would like to buy a 6-pack of eggs to throw in your incubator or throw under a broody hen, you can hit me up through here. They're actually not laying right now because we're just finishing the molt. And as you can see, he's getting his feathers back in. So they took a little break from producing eggs, but I do expect them to fire back up. And then this year's hens that were just hatched out in the spring, they're going to be coming into maturity very soon. And I see this one, she's up in here in this box, and she's looking like she's considering becoming a mama and start popping out some eggs. But anyway, you can hit me up for eggs on here. You can check eBay for auctions, not just from me, but from all sorts of gamefowl breeders. You can find all different colors. They're not all American gamefowl either. You got Asian crosses, Peruvian, Spanish, all these cool chickens, and they deserve to be loved and taken care of. We don't want these heritage breeds going extinct. It would be a real travesty. Just like, say, the Bulldog and American Pit Bull Terrier and Mastiff type breeds have evolved over time. It's a loving and beautiful creature that we should preserve them, preserve the not necessarily the heritage as much as some of that history and appreciation of what they've gone through to get them to this point. Oh, I see movement. Hopefully those are the chickens on the move. Maybe I could catch them flying down here. That'd be kind of cool, because these guys will take flight. I can control their movement with food and water. So that's what I've learned too. You don't want to, when you're trying to catch them or get them to go where you need, you don't want to chase these animals around. They're going to be flighty, sketchy, scared of you. They're going to be mean. You want to persuade them with food and water. And I talk to them, and they learn to trust you, and they understand that you are their daddy. You are their resource for their food and their well-being. So when I range these birds, I will put some food out down here in the morning, but only say it's only about 25% of what they need. So it keeps them with a healthy appetite, so they'll actively be on the hunt. Oh yeah, I'm catching some movement up there. But you can hear them digging around up there. And so I just will come down and start shaking some food, and they start working their way down the hill. And then I can persuade them to get into this coop over here by throwing food in. And then I give this little blue rooster a chance to walk free. Unfortunately, he's by himself, but it eliminates any problems between he and that other young stag who is basically his brother, but from a different later clutch of eggs. But the coolest thing is they will be way up there and they find a little gap in the foliage, and they will fly all the way down here. It's like a hang glider. They come flying all the way down, and it's really something to see. And you could just see how much they're enjoying their life and how healthy they are and well taken care of. See if we can't catch them in the air. Oh, I see more heads poking out. Come on, babies. Come down here. Come on. Let's go, babies. Well, I don't want to sit down here and shake this all day. Who knows if they're going to fly down, but... Oh, they're working their way down here. Let's see if we can't catch them in the act. Come on, babies. I don't whistle well. Anyway, I don't want to fool around with this too long. This is a long video. So you should follow me on my garden to table living pages. I also have a page called Blue Ridge Gamefowl. which is pretty cool. And eggs available, chickens available. Keep Gamefowl in mind for your homestead, especially if you're downsizing and you want, say, a more compact, potent source of not just income, but say production, but not necessarily eggs. We don't, oh, there they go. Look at them fly. Love it. Hopefully I caught that on video. That was cool. And you know, we can eat these extra eggs, but I put my freshest eggs up for auction. And I can get anywhere from $25 for 6 eggs plus shipping. I've even had someone pay $100 for 6 eggs, shipping included. I mean, that is outrageous. How many dozens of typical chicken eggs, homesteading eggs, would you have to sell to clear $100? I mean, the amount of feed involved in it is just astronomical. And I don't see, no small operation can sustain itself off that. All you can do is be trying to recoup a little bit of money for feed costs. And the point I'm getting to is these birds pay for themselves in a very short period of time. And now that I have a nice little brood, constant production, it's really special. And I hope you consider the American Gamefowl for your homestead. Have a great day.